Good evening. Today I have my brother Juwaad Beg here, and he has a new sensational project over in Bali that he's embarking on. But before we get to that, I want to talk to Juwaad about his background in real estate. Juwaad, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Can you tell me about your background in real estate to get us comfortable to how you've gotten to become an international real estate developer?
Yeah, so we're going to have to go back. My father wanted me to be a doctor, as most Asian fathers do, doctor, accountant, lawyer, So I was forced to do science at A-levels, and I was just not very good at it for whatever reason. And I couldn't get into medical college. I ended up doing law instead. And then when I finished that, I decided that I wasn't going to practice law or work for anybody, and I'm going to go into real estate because I just wanted to be my own man and not be told what to do and make a whole lot of money fast and retire by 21. That was the plan. So then I got an office and I went to business, and 6 months passed and I didn't make a penny and I spent loads of money. And what I realized in those 6 months was I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know anything about business. I didn't know what I was doing. So a friend of mine came to me and said, listen, there's a guy in our area in East London. He's does very well at real estate. His name was Jim Singh. And he said, I got a friend there. I could probably get you in to work there. They're probably not going to pay you, but at least you learn something. I was like, okay, sounds good, because I've been sitting here for 6 months and I haven't made a penny. I'm just spending money, looking good, but I don't know what I'm doing. So I went to work for him. When I went to see him, he said, look, we're not paying you. I said, okay, where do I sit? Where do I start? They had this big office at the front where all the big boys sat, the ones that all of them, there was like 1, 2, 5, 6 of them. And then right at the back, there was this cupboard, broom cupboard. He said, that's yours. Go clear it out. See if you can stick a desk in there. You'll be working from there. So I went into the back. I cleared it out. And I was able to squeeze 2 small desks in there. And there was this boy that lived around where I lived. His name was Bob, but he was a Muslim Pakistani, Bob. And he was 16 or 17 and he couldn't study anymore. And he needed a job. So I hired him for £50 a month. At this time, I wasn't making any money, right? But I hired him as my assistant. So he had that desk and I had my desk. And I just observed. People were coming in, people were coming out. These guys were selling 20, 50 properties a month. And I was like, how are they doing it? And they had a way whereby you could buy a property in London without putting any money down, no deposit.
This is interesting.
Yeah. And so what they were doing is they were getting these people to buy properties on mortgages. Now, at that time, I wasn't practicing Muslim, so, we'll talk about that later. But they had the valuers increasing the prices of the properties to enable the discount to be into the price. And they were paying that deposit, getting it out on the other side and selling 50 properties a month.
And getting a commission for it.
And making money on the price of the property going up, on the refurb costs, and a commission. So they were making a whole bunch of money. So I watched and I observed. And I saw this one customer that kept coming in with lots of other customers. And he was this white guy with a lot of fluffy hair, like Albert Einstein looking guy, right? So I made friends with him. I was like, listen, what are you doing, bro? How are you getting all these customers? And me and him, we got friendly, right? And he's like, listen, I'll tell you, but don't tell no one. I was like, okay, tell me, what was it? He goes, what I do is I put an ad in the magazine that's handed out for free on the London Underground. And I say in that advert, I will get you a property for 0 money down. So imagine now, London, 10 million population, 2 million people on that tube every day. And they're all getting this free magazine. They're not paying for it. They're just grabbing it and looking through it. And he's got an ad in there. So what did I do? I copied him. I did exactly what he did, made the ad a little bit bigger, repurposed the words. And all of a sudden I had all these customers. And now what was happening is that these customers were walking into the office and saying, where's Juwaad? And walking right into the back to my office past all the big boys. And these big boys are thinking, what is he doing? How is he getting all those customers? And within 6 months, they bought me a car, gave me my own office and my own team. Then my dad died. And at that point, I realized, once I buried him, rahmatullah alayhi, that everything I'm doing has got interest involved in it. I'm putting people into these interest-based instruments, so I can't do that no more. So I stopped the real estate industry altogether. I left it. And at that time, around the 2000s, pre-2000s, the IT industry was booming. The IT recruitment industry, the e-com industry. So I went into that. And then 9/11 happened. And when 9/11 happened, I was like, I'm not staying in England no more. I will not be a second-class citizen. I'm going to move. So I moved to Saudi. And in Saudi, I continued my IT business. I was running an IT training company. I was running an English training company, a business management training company. And I was using my sales skills to get corporate clients. And then 2006, a friend of mine from Dubai calls me, a school friend. He said, Juwaad, it's kicking off here in UAE. The real estate is just kicking off. Come and have a look. So I flew into the UAE and I went to look at all. And at this point, the Burj Khalifa was not even out of the ground yet.
That's right.
Right? It was just dust, you know? And I went from Ajman all the way to Abu Dhabi. I looked at all the options and I ended up buying a plot. I don't know why I bought the plot. I wasn't an expert in real estate. I just liked the guy, right? And I bought a plot for $1 million dirhams. And then 3 months later, I sold that plot for a profit. I did nothing. The same guy who sold it to me was the same one who bought it back off me. Just called me a few. But the story was with the guy who I bought the plot from, when we agreed the deal, because I was still living in Saudi at the time, I was living in Medina. So he called me, he said, let's come buy the plot, come to the land department, let's close the deal. So I went to the land department, my check was ready, I had the paperwork ready. Something was missing on his side, so we couldn't close the deal. And I had to get home the same day. He said, no problem, give me your fax number. I gave him my fax. In those days, we used faxes. Right? He said, give me your fax number. I gave him my fax number and I didn't think any more of it. I went home. Next morning, I found the title deed in my name faxed to me. This guy who didn't know me transferred $1 million dirham land to my name without me having given him a penny. Of course, immediately I wired him the money. He got his money, but I was really touched with the trust that he'd put in me and he just put that land in my name. So we developed an immediate friendship, right? And he calls me a few months later and he says, Juwaad, I'm starting my own development in Dubai. He was like, buy something. And I was like, okay, I'll buy something. You made me money, right? You trusted me. So I bought a studio. And in those days, it was like 350,000 dirhams for a studio. And there was no escrow and nothing like that then. Right. So I bought a studio, paid him 5%. 5% on 350,000 is what? 17,000 dirhams. A month later, I sold the studio and doubled my money. I was like, whoa, this is good. This is great. Then I went back and I bought 3 floors from him at 5% down. I took a discount for buying the volume. Then I sold the stock back into the market at his price because I had taken a discount on the price. So I sold it back at his price into the market via agents while building in a commission for them and doubled my money again. I was like, whoa, what's going on? It's free money. So then I got my friends together and we bought 6 floors, only 5% down. And I did the same. We got the bigger discount. We put in a 5% commission for the agents. We created an agency network. I sold a lot. Then he came back to me and said, Juwaad, what are you doing? You're selling my stock faster than I'm selling my stock. Can you sell my stock for me? I said, yeah, I'll sell your stock for you. I'll build a number in for me. Then I'm selling my stock and his stock. Now he launches tower number 3. I was like, I'll take half a building. He said, no, I don't want your money. Get rid of your investors. I will build your share in. Just do what you do. Sell. You're the exclusive. So I just got rid of my investors. My money was fixed and I just sold all that building. And then I sold the next one. Then I sold the next one. Then I sold the next one. We sold almost $2 billion in real estate. Then 2008 happened. Market collapsed.
Subprime mortgage crisis.
Crisis. But we were making money hand over foot.
That's
However, he was a good developer. And the reason I worked with him was he agreed to remove the interest-based penalties from his sales and purchase contract that hardly anyone agrees to do. And that's why I worked with him. There was no interest-based penalties if you paid late. And even after the crisis, when most of the developers ran away, he stayed and delivered on all the properties. Then when the market recovered in 2012, 2011, we started again, and then we went all the way up to COVID, and we sold over 4,000 units, 12, 13 buildings. And I focused on one developer for all that 15 years, and that's what we did. And then but prior to that, just at the same time at 2006, 2007, I also did the same in Kuala Lumpur. I went to Kuala Lumpur. I went and looked at 20 different developers. I found one that I liked. Location was near the Twin Towers. And I bought a floor and I sold 7, 8 floors to other investors in Dubai. And we did the same process. So I've been doing real estate in multiple continents for a quarter of a century.
And predominantly off plan.
Predominantly off plan. So structuring deals that get the maximum return for everybody involved. So the end user, the investor, the developer, everybody has to win for it to work.
Just for people to have even more confidence in you, you have Rove Haven. Rove Haven is, tell us what Rove Haven is.
Every time I was in the market for about 15 years, right? So we had peaks and then we had corrections and crashes, peaks and then corrections and crashes. Every time we were in a bull run, I was making loads of money. When we were in a bear run, I was sitting twiddling my thumbs, losing money, spending money, right? However, I looked at the market over those 15 years and I found there were certain players in the market that kept on growing even during the bear runs. And I was like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And I went and looked at their portfolios, and what they were doing is that they were smarter than me. I looked at the lifetime value of the customer as just the sale. They were looking at the lifetime value of the customer as we will manage that asset after it's delivered. So whereas I was only making the commission and moving away, they were making the commission plus a management fee for the next 5-10 years.
Right.
So they were continuously growing. If the market was flat, sideways, or going down, they were still making an income, a residual income on managing those assets because they still had to be rented. And that's when I realized that my business model was all wrong. But, you learn. So then when I've understood that concept, I decided that now it's time to manage those assets, right? If you look at why the likes of all these billionaires, their portfolios and net worths during COVID doubled and tripled when the rest of the world was losing money and bleeding. It's not because they have a lot of money. It's because they have lots of assets. And while the federal governments of the world, federal banks of the world were printing money, and they printed 70% of the total dollar supply since inception during COVID, which is phenomenal. That means they 60% or 70%, let's say 60%. They diluted the world currency by 60%. So $1 was now only worth 40 cents, right? So that means if you had 40 billion in assets, it's now worth 100 billion. That's how their net worths doubled. So the game of wealth is to own the asset, control the asset. Now, my asset of choice is real estate because I don't do equities. I don't believe they're all Sharia compliant. I don't do Forex because I don't believe it's Sharia compliant. I don't do futures. It's not Sharia compliant. I don't like any of those financial instruments. With a property, I know I can rent it and get a rental income. It's very straightforward. I control it based upon market conditions, right? Sharia compliant. But how am I going to get my hands on $100 million worth of real estate? I don't have $100 million. The only way to be able to do that was to manage other people's real estate. Why? Because when you manage real estate, you can charge anything from 10 to 20% management fee. So if you have $100 million of real estate under management, it's as if you own 10, 20% of it.
Right.
And you're making that money without ever having to put that 100 million in to get it. And $100 million of real estate in Dubai is only 100 units.
And is this coming in through Airbnb or
right.
are you just
so
managing these
Airbnb,
properties?
Booking.com, then directly from places like Beirut and Property Finder for the people who are living here, the corporates, the professionals who want monthly stays, 6 monthly stays, directly from corporates, from multiple sources.
So correct me if I'm wrong. It's not just holiday homes.
No.
Okay.
Holiday homes worked for a long time, and specifically in the touristic areas. But this new crisis shut that down completely.
Tell me more about this. Tell me more about what happened during the last few months that made the holiday homes market a bit more challenging than it has been in the past.
So the holiday home market 5 years ago was very profitable. Anything, anywhere, any kind of furnishings, and you're making 15, 20% yields. But over the last 5 years, that's becoming saturated. More and more operators came into the market, more and more landlords came into the market, and the average daily rates were reducing while the supply was increasing. And what we found was that the holiday home landlords were getting approximately 50% of the revenue that was being earned. 15% was going to Airbnb, 15 to 20% was going to your manager, 7% was going to your maintenance, etc. All of that taken out, you're only getting 50%. And in most cases, they were not making as much as they would make by putting it on long term, because long term rates were going up because everybody was still moving to Dubai and investing. So holiday homes have been struggling for a while now. They don't tell you that. They promise you 30% more, but it doesn't really happen. So when we saw that trend happening, we realized that this business model was not going to continue to work.
Can I ask a question? Because I'm curious. You know how I felt about the holiday homes market, but I thought you guys, the strategies you had and the professionalism that you guys possessed, I just knew you were going to be successful with it, you know, and you were successful with it.
No, but you see, the thing is that the markets change, costs change, right? And if you're just a one-trick pony, at some point that trick's going to stop working and then you die.
I agree.
And that was what was happening. So what we had to do was find a way to actually continue being property managers where the landlord makes more money with you than without you. So that, and when I examined the market globally, the leaders in this area were companies like Blue Ground. Blue Ground is global. They don't do holiday homes. They do corporate stays, where they'll take the unit, they'll furnish it, and they'll offer it out to corporates. And when I examined their business model, the maintenance costs were less, the wear and tear was less, the average income was more, the type of clientele was better, and mostly the customers were coming direct, so there was no 15% OTA cost. They were saving 30% and making you an extra 15%. So we adopted that. We stopped doing the daily, weekly holiday home bookings. We didn't stop completely, because some locations like the Palm, the Marina, JBR, downtown in the winter months perform great, but then they don't perform great in the off season in the summer. So we started to do a hybrid. We do corporates during the summer and we do tourists during the winter. We'll get the maximum yield both ends. But some units, like in JVC and other places, won't perform at all for tourists. So we stuck totally to corporate stays with them for monthly, and that would produce a higher yield for them. And ultimately, what we said was, if we can't get you a higher yield on the midterm corporates or on the short term, we will put it on long term for you, so you don't have to go anywhere. We take care of everybody's needs.
2 questions I have. Airbnb, what's the profit now in Airbnb in Dubai and in the UAE?
Well, right now, as you know, due to the recent crisis, the tourism has just dropped. It's always bad in the summer, but now it's much worse due to the current conditions. So there are a lot of units sitting empty, and the rates more than halved.
The rates are more than half now.
Yeah.
When it comes back, let's say, take an educated guess. What do you think? You know, what will the profit be pretty much across the UAE for Airbnb? Would it be 15% yearly, 10%?
I mean, look, if you can get 8%, you should be happy.
Wow. You can get that long term.
You're not anymore, not today. You can't. Today, your long term is also smashed.
And what's the reason for that?
Because a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have left. All those people with money that were coming decided not to come. Tourism is totally gone to zero. Well, it's dribbling back now because the sentiment is changing, but there, you know, nobody wanted to be here.
Do you think that the Airbnb or the short-term rental market will ever return?
It hasn't died completely, right? However, it's barely covering the costs of the landlords having those properties. Some people have called me and said, Juwaad, I just want to cover my mortgage and my service charge. Please help me. I just want to cover the cost. I don't want to put my hand in my pocket to pay for that property. It's reached those levels.
And what about, going off a tad bit, the distressed deals that come to you as, you know, which is an offshoot of people not being able,
everybody that was making a rental income, whose rental income decreased by 60-70% during this period, has asked me the question, should I sell?
And what's your answer to that?
If you sell today, you're going to take a big loss. Wait.
How long do you think it's going to take for...
like you said the other day, you know, real estate is not like Forex or equities or currencies or commodities, which the sentiment can change in 10 minutes and it reflects on the exchange, right? Real estate is real people's lives. If I'm leaving the country, I've got to pick up my kids, I've got to cancel their schooling, I've got to cancel my diva and move to a new location, and then all that money it took to get here, then all the money it took to get there, and the emotional stress, and now having to come back. No, I'm not coming back. I want to watch and see what goes on for the next 6 months.
So you think the confidence will come to the market? I had spoken about this. I thought it would take another 6 months for people
You can't have a sweeping statement for a whole economy, right? And Dubai real estate is not one set of asset class. We've got off plan, we've got ready, and we've got waterfront, and we've got community, and we've got no community. You know, there's multiple different types of assets. So when it comes back, the ones that will come back first will be the waterfront, because those are, you know,
they're most
limited stock. Yeah. So I think the waterfront will come back first, and thereafter it will be like the mature communities, you know, where you can still get a good rental income because people still want to live there because it's got everything you need in one place. Good developers, good communities. People who bought off plan at all-time highs, it may be a very long time before they recover. And for them, it may even be worthwhile exiting at a loss.
Do you believe that, because we've seen in the past, you and I have both been here during COVID and the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, some of those, would it be safe to say, some of those people who bought the off plan will never see the price that they paid for it?
Yeah. So first of all, off plan should always be cheaper than the ready market. That's a standard rule, because when you're buying off plan, you're taking a risk. It's not ready. You can't get a return on that money straight away. Granted, you get to pay over time, but you're taking the risk of that developer not delivering, or delivering late, or delivering not what he promised, right? Your money is at risk for 3 years or more, right? So traditionally, globally, off plan is cheaper than ready. But what started to happen in Dubai over the last few years, 2024, 25, is that off plan became more expensive than ready, and that was a big red flag. And that's why I wasn't telling anyone to buy off plan, because this doesn't make sense, right? So now what's going to happen is that people realize that they've just bought something in JVT for 2,400 dirham per square foot. Ready market's at 1,600 dirham per square foot, and their property's is 2 years away.
Too unpredictable.
You may never see 2,400 dirham per square foot.
Unpredictable. That's right.
You may never see it. So if you've only paid 10%, I would advise you exit and lose that 10%, because trying to make up 800 dirham per square foot, 1,000 dirham per square foot, and 1,000 dirham unit, that's 1 million dirham possible loss. It's better you just lose 100,000 dirhams and let that one go.
I agree with you. I've done it myself. So
yeah. So I believe we will see a lot of defaults because the numbers were not right. The mechanics were not right.
But the good thing is, well, I shouldn't say the good thing. There are people out there like myself, yourself. If we see a distressed deal, that's great. We're going to take it. You're not going to just let it go. And there will be a lot of those type of distressed deals.
The underlying factor for all of real estate, not for lifestyle purchases where you live, because that's lifestyle, right? But the underlying factor for all real estate investments is the rental income, because that's the money that's coming back, right? And the capital growth. We're not going to see capital growth for a while. We're in a correction phase. So the only things that people will buy today or should buy today are value, and value where they can get a decent rental income. Those rental incomes have now become depressed due to the previous quarter.
So you're saying forget the capital.
We need to be worrying about who's going to rent that unit and for how long and for how much and what is going to be my return on my investment. That's what matters. So are people going to come back now?
Right.
Are there going to be enough people to come back to, towards the peak? People were buying in DLRC, which is at the other end of the world, because they couldn't get a good price in JVC and Silicon Oasis. But now it's emptied out so much that you can get a very nice, decent price in JVC again. Who's going to want to live in your DLRC unit that you bought for 1,600 dirham per square foot?
So we're looking at rental yield. We're not looking at...
It's all about the actual usage of the investment vehicle.
Got it. Makes sense. It makes sense. Rental yield is, so you would say that rental yield is king right now.
For an investment property, that's your income. So that's what you should, that's going to be the deciding factor on how quickly asset values change.
Beautiful. Now, getting to our new project. I call it, because we're in the Middle East now, I'm saying you're going to Bali now, international developer. This is big time, Juwaad.
It's not big time.
For me, it is.
No, what they say is that necessity is the mother of invention. So we know right now it's not good for us here. And we are in a watch and see phase. And inshallah, it will get better.
Inshallah.
But inshallah, still we need to cash flow.
And there's still lanes here for real estate that some of us are in where there's still cash flowing. and doing okay.
Yeah, so when I went into AI and I said, tell me where the money is still transacting. Go into the Dubai Land Department website and tell me where is the most deals transacting still today. And the most money is being transacted in JVC and Business Bay ready deals.
Ready deals.
Ready deals. And those have lost the least amount of value. Because that is really where the people, even if there's a crisis, will not leave those communities.
But one thing about JVC is that JVC does have a better future because they'll be running a metro line there to JVC. So that's one of the smartest investments right now. In my opinion, if anyone was to buy something, I would say buy something from JVC, knowing that...
You see, there's a double-edged sword because there's also 40,000 units under construction in JVC. It may become saturated. Everything is a watch and see and look at the numbers, which is why we're going to Indonesia. For me...
Yeah. What's your vision with Bali now?
First of all, for me, it would be Dubai is my home. The Middle East is my home, right? And it takes a real big push for me to want to work outside of it. I don't want to go anywhere.
Right.
I want to stay here. I love it here. This is home, right?
I second that. That's right.
So for us to look at another option is through a lot of pain and being pushed to this situation. So being a holiday home or property management operator, we know that the underlying number that we are most concerned with is the rental income yield.
And this, we're speaking about Bali now.
Yeah. So for anywhere, for Dubai, right? That determines the asset value, right? That determines your return on investment. You buy a property, when you get your money back. How long is it going to take, right? So we're not, and also for me, because I left England, I made hijrah when I left England. So I'm never going back to a non-Muslim country, inshallah. So I would only work in a Muslim country. Number one. Also, I can't be anywhere near this geopolitical crisis because that's the reason I'm looking for a second flow, right? So I can't go, even though I love Saudi, I can't go there. It's the same bucket, right? So I need to go to a Muslim country that is far away from this geopolitical crisis, that has a high amount of traffic in terms of tourism and tenants, and has reasonable taxation, and it just allows me to do what I did in Dubai 25 years ago today.
Right. And what is that? What does Bali
so first of all
do for you now?
Bali is not the ideal place for me to live, but it's a good place to transact because it's within a Muslim country, but it's not a Muslim state. But the rest of the country is Muslim, predominantly Sunni Muslim. And next door to Bali is Lombok, which is an island with 1,000 mosques. Right? So, if we had to, we'd live there and do business in Bali because the returns, the money. So Bali has a yearly tourism of 7 million foreigners and 12 million locals. That's 19 million people coming through that small little island. And that is why they're experiencing the highest yields possibly in the world right now. The average yield is between 12 to 18% yield. Let's say, you get 15. That means 7 years and you got your money back. Now, the downside is that they don't do freehold predominantly. It's mainly leasehold. You buy it for 25, then you can buy another 25. And
so how many years is the contract?
25 years is the first initial lease. 25 to 30. Sometimes it's 80. It depends on the zoning of the land. But the maths works for us as investors, right? I can buy a 1-2 bed villa for the price of a studio in Dubai.
That's the truth.
Yes, the truth.
That's the truth.
For about $200,000, I can buy a standalone, not a townhouse, a standalone, fully standalone villa, 200 meters square, 2,000 square meters built up, with its own private pool, 10 minutes from the beach, and that will rent out and give you a 15% yield per year.
In Bali.
In Bali. And you'll get your money back within 7 years. And
where do I sign up?
And you still got another 18 years left on the lease for it to continue to give you money and money and money and money, and you can keep rotating your money. So we don't need the freehold because this is not an emotional purchase. This is an investment. And we as holiday home operators will manage it ourselves for our clients and for ourselves.
So you guys are selling individual units to clients?
Yeah. So we got two things we're doing. Number one, we have a fund where we're accepting limited number of people who want to be with us in the development stage.
Oh, this is great. So you accept investors.
We will accept investors to come in with us in the development phase where we purchase the land, build it and sell it. And then we also welcome end users, investors, or people who want to live there and have an investment to buy from us, and we will manage it for them and help them get up to 15% yields.
Let's say an investor comes in, he can buy multiple units.
As many as he
Not
wants.
a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we don't have endless supply.
Right. That's it. It's how many properties are available now?
Right now, there's only 10.
Wow. Right.
But once we do this 10, we'll do another 10. Then we'll do another 10. We'll keep going until the options are viable.
It's going to be very easy to get rid of the 10 that you have right now, for sure.
I don't know. But before I initiated the process, I went there, I scoped the territory, and then I came back and I spoke to my people. Because I have landlords, I have customers, I have clients. I'm talking to people every day. And I was like, if I could get you at 15% yield in Bali, but it was a leasehold for 25, then you could extend for another 25. Would you be interested if it would cost you the price of a studio in Dubai? And they were like, yeah, we're ready. And then what I found was that since this crisis happened, a lot of people from Dubai have gone there already and started in the real estate industry there because it collapsed here. And it's just the new frontier right now. There are issues. You need to know what the zones you're working in. Some zones are not eligible for the short lets. You need to make sure that you're getting the right permits, you're getting the right infrastructure. There's work involved, but if done correctly.
But Rove Haven is taking care of all of that.
Yeah, we take care of all of that.
For the investors and the purchasers.
That's right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. So when you look at the future now, we know Dubai is here and we're going to be in Dubai. That's both of us, right? Do you believe that you'll be doing future business in Indonesia? Is this where you think things may be going?
What do we want as Muslims, right? When we meet each other, we give each other the salam. And that's legislated. And one of the rights a Muslim has in another Muslim is that when you get the salam, you return it, right? So that means by default, the best thing a Muslim can have in his life is salama, is to have peace and tranquility, right? So we're trying to achieve peace and tranquility, and by being in business, we're buying back our time so we can use it to worship Allah to the best of our means, right? And achieve peace and tranquility. So when a 12-day war happened last year and missiles were flying in, I was like, you know what, this is messing with my peace and tranquility. I need a second home in a Muslim state where there's masjids and I can still do business and have peace and tranquility. And when things calm down here, I can come back because I still need to be close to Makkah and Medina, ideally, right? So this whole project is come from my own needs. I love it here. But if certain conditions change, I need a backup.
And Indonesia seems to be
Indonesia. I thought about Malaysia, but the taxes are 30% on income and 30% on capital gains. Doesn't leave much.
And with these homes that are being built, that you're building, and what's the name of it actually?
The name of what?
The name of the project in Bali.
So we're called Rove, so we'll call it Rove Bali.
You're gonna call it Rove Bali?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's easy.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So now when you're looking at Rove Bali, you do your first 10. I'm telling you right now, that first 10 is going to sell out
Inshallah.
Before the end of the year, inshallah.
Not what end of the year, bro. We want to sell it out within 12 weeks, within 3 months.
I believe we can do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not much. It's a great bang for your buck, period. $200,000 for a standalone villa. Come on. Yeah. Come on. In Bali, you're doing investors a great favor, as well as end users.
And even if you use it for 2-3 months out of the year, you're still going to get a 10% yield in your pocket.
You said 10% yield?
Yeah, because you use some of it, right?
Right.
So if you stayed there for 3 months, you're still making 10%.
Right. Yeah, I see it. I see it being very successful. Very successful. I'm one of your investors. I'm telling you this on the air. So
inshallah.
I'm here, inshallah. So the end goal now for the project, what do we...
I mean, there is no end goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just to keep providing a good service and improving and getting better. And, the end customer is the one who's going to rent it. So they have to enjoy the facility. Then the person who buys it should get a good return on his money in a halal way. So he should get a good return. So we have to manage it well for him. And then we should be able to develop it in a nice location to a good quality so that it lasts, and they're able to get that. So we should become good at sourcing the land and building and constructing and then managing the whole process from start to finish. and getting better at that all the time, so that everybody in that relationship is winning, and just keep doing that.
That's good business.
Yeah.
That's good business. So what we're going to do is let everyone that's watching, we're going to give them all of your details to get in contact with you immediately. Get it while it's hot, because it won't last long for sure. And they can get in touch with you and get further details where you can send them out the brochures and get them on their way to home ownership. And for those investors, they can, start thinking about investing in Bali for the meantime. And they can get advice from you as well as what they should do here.
Advice is free.
In the UAE. On a personal level, I could not have sat with someone that I trust as much as I trust Juwaad.
You're breaking my back.
Hey, Allahumma barik, ya akhi. I gotta let the people know there's nobody that I would do business with without a blink of an eye like this man here. So if you're interested in this project, get in touch with Juwaad
or Jamie
or me. And don't think twice about doing business with this man. He's going to bring you money. And he always brings value to anything that he does. That's what I know from him. And that's all I can tell the people that are watching. Because people are going to ask me, what do I think? And you've heard it from me. Good business. Always make sure everyone wins. That's what I can say about Juwaad Beg.
We have our shortcomings.
Alhamdulillah. So that's it for us in this episode. Get in contact with Juwaad Beg. I'm going to put all his details in the caption. So we'll be looking forward to you guys coming out, investing with Juwaad, and or buying a property as an end user. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Barakallahu feek, ya akhi, for coming on today.
It was our pleasure.
All right. We're going to close out all those villas in less than 12 weeks.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.